So I think those are the logistics. So I'm very happy to see you all here, and I hope it's going to be a great meeting. And now I'm going to pass over to Tom to get us underway with an update on CCP-EM.
Thanks, Martin. And again, just like to welcome you all here today. Thank you very much for coming to our second annual Spring Symposium. So I'm going to just give an overview of what we do at CCP-EM. And so we were founded in 2012 with the aim of to try and provide a forum for the EM community, in particular in the UK, but also in Europe and further afield. And what does that mean in practice? It means that we want to provide training and user support. We want to support application developers to make it easier and quicker for them to release the wonderful software that they write. And to that end, we want to start to develop our own software framework to make it easier for users to use and easier for developers to write. So that's our aims. And we were initially funded by an MRC partnership grant that started in 2012 and ran to February this year. And then we're very pleased to be awarded a new 5-year MRC partnership grant that will take us all the way through to February 2021. So that means that we'll be able to do another whole series of these symposiums, as well as running the workshops that we do every year as well. So who are CCP-EM? Well, the staff are Martin Wynne, who you just heard from, myself. We have an administrator, Helen Walker, who I'm sure you've all had lots of emails from in the last couple of weeks. And I'm pleased to announce that starting hopefully very soon, we'll have a new recruit, another me, and that's Colin Palmer, and he's here today as well. The chair and the deputy of CCP-EM are Peter Rosenthal and Neil Ranson, so they're kind of our bosses. So if you'd like something done, you can tell me or you can tell them, and I'm sure they'll be more than happy to pass on your requests. The authors on the grant you can see here. So we have a good team of people to try and put together this framework. So one of the main things that we do is to run these training workshops. So we've run several of these over the last year. We ran our inaugural ICNIL workshop, which is a 3 or 4 day workshop held here on site that is specifically aimed at building high-resolution models, or building models into high-resolution EM data. Held this for the first time here in March. It was really successful. It was a lovely workshop. We were lucky to have lots of developers to come and help us run that. And we plan to run this, as I said, every year. Back in December, we ran with the CCP-EM Dynamo subtomograph averaging workshop, also here at REL. We were lucky to have Daniel and Misha, the Dynamo developers, come over and help us teach. And back last year, we ran a workshop together, in partnership with Instruct and with CCP4, on combining tools, computational tools for combining atomic and volume data. So we aim to run about 3 to 4 workshops every year. You might notice a trend that they were all held on the REL site. That's not deliberate. We'd like to go further afield. So if you have a terminal room and 20 computers and you'd like us to come, you know who to get in touch with, and we'll try and make it happen. So what else do we do? We are looking to help support the wonderful new EBIC Centre that we have on campus here. At the nice dinner tonight, you'll have a lovely view of the EBIC Centre building that's just being finished off at the moment, on the right-hand side of the restaurant. And we're here to try and help and assist the software support, data processing, and training with the EBIC Centre. We do that in collaboration with the data analysis software group at Diamond. So that brings me to our software suite. So we're trying, as I said before, to put together a framework of software that combines the different elements of data processing involved in cryo-EM. And we want to give sort of a unified access to these disparate different programs. We want to make sure that it's easy to install, that it's available on all different platforms. We want it to have a nice modern GUI. make it easy or easier to submit computationally demanding jobs to computer clusters. And it needs to have project task management, and we aim to have close compatibility with our sister project, CCP4. And CCP4, we share an office with CCP4, and they've been extremely supportive and helpful as we've started to put together our software package. So pleased to announce that there's a beta release now available for Linux and very shortly for Mac. This is a co-distribution with CCP4, and I'd like to thank Marcin Woodyer from the CCP4 team for helping me put together this distribution. It's available from our website. If you go on our website, there are details of how to download it and get it running. It's a beta version, so I'd be very interested in any requests, bugs, feedback. Anything that you think might be useful, then please drop me an email and let me know how we can improve it for the full release later in the year. So what do you get inside the CCP-EM software suite? Well, you get a main GUI, and this allows you to launch different tasks. You get a job history here that tells you when your tasks were launched, the status of them, when they're finished. You can tag them with a description. And it has integration with the common molecular graphics programs that you use to try and speed up your navigation between your data and then further interpreting the lovely structures that are generated. It's set up to run in 3 distinct modes, so you can run it with a full-blown GUI with the project management system. If you want to run a quick job, you can launch the task GUIs as a standalone window, so you don't need to set up a project if you don't want to. And for old-fashioned people like me, then you can run all of these tools via the command line, and it has a common command line interface, so all the arguments for the different tasks all use the standard JSON format, which makes it easy if you want to submit jobs maybe to computer clusters, or like I said, if you're old-fashioned like I am. So what do you get inside CCP-EM at the moment? Well, the first program I want to talk about is DokiAM, which is Alan Roseman from the University of Manchester's baby. And this is an exhaustive rigid body search for docking atomic models into EM volumes at sort of low to medium resolution. And the GUI that we put together for this was done with one of our previous CCP-EMers, Sony Malhotra. We have a program called FlexiAM. So this was developed in Birkbeck in the group of Maya Toff. So FlexiAM is aimed at flexible fitting of rigid body domains into EM maps. So again, model fitting into EM volumes. This is optimized for medium to high resolution data sets, and it requires an input of rigid bodies, and these can be generated by a secondary program called RibFind, which you'll also find in the CCP-EM suite. For more details on this, I'd like to point you to our very recent paper that came out in this month's edition of Methods, that Agnel Joseph was the lead author for that. So moving on to our third program, this is RestMAC, a CCP4 program that's been developed by Gareth Mushadov at the LMB, and we're lucky to have Gareth talking about this himself later on. So I won't say too much, but it's a program specifically for high-resolution model refinement. It allows you to do this both globally and locally. It has a series of half-map validation tools, and we also have a utility for blurring and sharpening maps, which Gareth, I think you'll talk about more later. So we also have a program called Molerap. This is another one of the CCP4 programs, and this is for fast docking of models into EM maps, particularly best for high-resolution EM maps, and it's also used as part of the RestMAC pipeline. And Alexei Vagin is the main developer of this program. So you also get the MRC image processing system. This was developed by Tony Crowther, Richard Henderson, and Jude Short. And Jude is here today, I'm pleased to say. And And this has an extensive number of command line routines for a whole different series of EM data processing tasks that are now available. And a few of these tasks have been GUIfied. So for those of you who don't like using the terminal, you can access these via the GUI. If you have particular favorite image processing system tasks that you'd like to see GUIfied, please drop me an email and I can add those in. There's also a basic image viewer and an MRC header editor utility. And we're putting together a Python toolkit. So this suite is composed of many different programming languages, but Python is the sort of umbrella that holds everything together and connects all the different pieces. And so we would like to try and expose all of the useful tools and tricks that we've developed for people to play with who are interested in programming. So you can run CCP-EM Python, and this will give you access to the different Python modules that we have. And these give you utilities for handling MRC and reflection files, for PDB manipulation, for playing with metadata, and also the Tempi toolkit, which can be used for model validation. So that's what you get at the moment. In the near future, what you'll also get is a GUI for Alan Roseman's FindEM program, and this is for interactive particle picking. Also, Alan's ShapeEM program. So this is like DokiAM, but rather than docking a molecular model to an EM volume, now you're docking a volume to a volume. And also we're going to add an existing CCP4 program called Buccaneer, which has been optimized for use with EM data. And for those of you who were at the ICNIL workshop earlier on, you'll remember that this works extremely well when we were prototyping it back in March. So we're very excited about that. Finally, we're going to expand the kind of common utilities that we have. So we're going to have a metadata viewer. We're going to expand the image viewer to have more tools and more tasks. We want to have a GUI for manipulating PDB files, and also we want to fully deploy our cluster job management system. And then in the longer term, we look towards doing many different modalities, such as tomography and possibly helical reconstruction as well. So how are we doing for time? So I can show you a quick live demo of what this looks like. So here is the GUI here, and if we click on one of the previously run tasks, for instance, this was our FlexiAM simulation that I ran earlier today. So you can see you get a results view. You can look at how the setup of this was run. So here's the setup. You can see where you input the parameters here. There are extended options. And so if you want to run a fresh job, you can click here, and you can see that you have the various different parameters that you need to set. Each one of these parameters is a tooltip to give you an idea of what they're for and how to optimize your runs. Here, as I said before, here is the project manager, so you can see the jobs that are run previously. And of course, you can set up many different projects across the distributed computer system. Okay. So with that, I'd like to just say a few acknowledgements to everybody involved. So I'd like to thank the MRC for funding. There's more information about what we do on our website. The beta release is now available for download also on our website. For those of you who are not signed up to our mailing list, I strongly suggest you do. Any workshops that we do, any new software releases that we do will be announced on there. And I'd like to thank all the guys at the CCP4 core team, especially Martin, Maya and Agnell at Birkbeck, Arden from the EBI, and Garab and Jude from the LMB, and Alan as well from the University of Manchester. And thank you all for listening.